Welcome everybody to 1 hour of miniature goodness. I hope everybody is well. Now could you just let me know in chat if the sound is working okay? Got my mug of coffee tonight. Thank you, Bull GM. Now I am painting with my right hand tonight. I am very happy to say that the shaking has all gone. It's a little tiny bit now and again, but that's probably from nerves from the show tonight. But as you can see, there's no twitchiness in the fingers, so the only pain I get is at the top of my arm when I lift it above my head. So absolutely awesome stuff. So tonight we are doing something very special. This was sent to me from Rod in chat, Fish and Sticks. Let me give you a little focus. There we go. Now I've already given these an undercoat of my favourite wood stain brown from Reaper Miniatures. And what we got here, we have the Goblin Raiders. Now these were first cast way back in 1976 and 1977 from Partha. Now what Rod sent me was the anniversary pack. Now they still used the exact same castings, so on the bottom of these miniatures you've still got the proper dates of when they were first cast as well as but these were re-released back in 1995, but they are the exact same casts as the originals from 1976 and 1977. So you got a Wolf Rider there, and Rider. So it should be a nice little simple paint tonight. Now, when you paint old school minis like this, you need some really thin paint because the detail is not like today's miniatures. Very simple paint. What we got here, we got chainmail, bows, some swords. So I'm going to paint them in an old school style as well, as it's going to be just a quick paint, but absolutely gorgeous stuff. Now I was going to put these onto some bases, but I'm going to actually leave the original metal round bases, and I'll probably just paint them goblin green as well to make them look even more old school. Okay, so I'm going to get some paint on the palette, and we'll go and we'll get cracking. So what I'm going to use tonight is all my MSP colours. I got my Army Painter green, Sylvan green. This is my favourite colour for goblins. I don't know why, but this colour just appeals to me very much for goblin skin. But we're using some Shadow Silver. We're going to do all the dry brushing first. Like I say, very simple paint for these miniatures. I'll let me say hello to people in chat though. Of course I'll say hello to Rod first, as he sent me these beautiful miniatures from the USA. We have the Bull GM in chat, we have Stuart's in chat, Nath is in chat, Scorpler is finally in chat, Coldair's in chat. Hello Coldair, and we have Towers in chat. Awesome to see you all. Thank you so much for popping in. Now I did post on Patreon. That I will be going back to full-time work next year. The way things are going, I've given myself till February. And as soon as February comes, I'm going to start posting all the parcels and everything again. And what I'm going to do is slowly build up and work my way back into the job, because I can't just jump in fully. Just going to take it a little at a time, and then by February we should be good to go. So thank you everybody who has stuck with me for this. I know it's been a bit of a rough few months, 4 months or so. But we're getting there. We are getting there, and I am just so happy I can paint again. I thought I was going to be out of action for a couple of years, but the physiotherapy is working fantastic. I've been doing all the exercises like a madman every day. I think it's down to commitment as well. A lot of these things is if you really want something hard enough, you end up making yourself better. It is possible. Thank you, Bull GM. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start dry brushing all the armor, chainmail. Very simple paint really. We're just adding a very dark silver to all the areas here, and of course it's really nice for me to go back into my speed painting, and I can fly around my minis and have lots of fun. I didn't like trying to use my left hand. Not when you've been painting for so long with your right. It was very difficult, but I am so happy I can go back using my right hand, and of course I can still carry on at the same speed as I was before, but I do have to take my time. Of course, you can overdo it. I mean, even the doctors have said to me, you know, slowly work my way back into things. So that's what I'm going to do. Once a speed painter, always a speed painter. Yes, Tal, I will take it steady. As he goes into overdrive. Whee! Goes into light speed mode. Woohoo! Yeah. I even shaved the sides of the old beard off because I was feeling quite good about myself. It's amazing how when you are feeling down and pissed off with life because you're not very well, you end up not kind of bothering about how you look or shaving or doing anything. But I'm feeling a lot better mentally as well, because I really did think it was all gonna end for me for my painting. It's weird how you can get into that mental attitude, but all the exercises have paid off. I mean, I'm not 100%, and I know that. I know I'm not 100% fit in my arm, but I can paint, and that's all I really care about. Okay. Now, I got quite a few different miniatures from the early 70s. Now, I don't know if any of you know Game Messiah. I can't. Rod, am I saying his name right? Game Messiah. I can't say his name now, and I do apologise if he watches this in the future. Game Messiah. Oh my goodness, I can't say it now. He sent me a box of really old school miniatures as well as. So I could do quite a few different. Thank you, see, I can't even say it when you've typed it out in chat. But yes, Rod, that awesome guy. He's also a goblin. He's also a patron of mine as well. He's also got a YouTube channel. He's a legend. He is an absolute legend. And he's been a game master for decades and decades and decades. he was a game master when they first invented Dungeons and Dragons, you know what I mean? Anyway, he sent me a lot of old school miniatures a couple of years ago as well. But with my business, I haven't really had time to do all the painting. So with this kind of more free time, I've been able to dig out the older miniatures and have a bit of fun with my old stuff. Oh, I better show you. I better show you what the free miniature is for tonight. I got a lovely miniature. Now, I have sent this miniature to a few of you, I think, for on one of your tiers. But this is for anybody in chat to win. Oh, it does feel so good to be painting with my right hand. Alright. I mean, just by adding that silver, they come into life already. Absolutely awesome stuff. Right, okay, let me show you the mini, because we've only got an hour. Thank you for following, Pumpkin Wizard. For some reason, I got no sound. I got no sound coming from my speakers tonight, so I can't hear when I'm getting notifications. So I apologise if I've missed anybody. This is the free miniature for tonight. This is the undead Lord on throne. So if you want a chance to win this absolutely beautiful miniature, no Tal, you cannot say anything. Thank you, Pumpkin Wizard. If you want to win the Skeleton King, just type in "give me a Skeleton King" in chat. Claire, my Scorpler, will add you to the Wheel of Pain. And at the end of the show, we shall do a draw, and the winner will be announced in chat. And I will send this to one lucky person in chat, who's in the chat, who types in what I've just said, free of charge anywhere in the world. It's an absolutely beautiful miniature. It's one of my favourites from Reaper, and it was one of the first ones I really painted from the Reaper line in the Bones line. This is the Bones version. They also did hello Mokai, thank you for subscribing. They also did a metal version, and the metal version of this is absolutely gorgeous from Reaper Miniatures. The metal version comes with 3 variant heads, so you can have 3 different versions of this miniature. You can have him with like a Dracula head and the skull head, but the metal version is absolutely gorgeous. But of course you're paying an extra premium of about 27, I think with the price going up now, it's about £28 probably for this miniature from this web store. But yes, this will be the free mini today. I'll put him there so you can all dribble on him. Dribble on him. Okay, let's get the little Wolfie painted. Now for the Wolfie, we're going to add some black and some white. We're going to do our own mixing of our colours. It's quite strange, you know, because as most of you know, I've got thousands and thousands of paints all around the room, and yet I still prefer to just mix my own colours in front of me. I mean, I got loads of different types of grey, and yet I find it easier just to make the grey from black and white, and away I go, you know. It is worth it for metal, Dave. Oh, while I'm here, talking of Rod sending me these miniatures, he also sent me a pokey stick. Now this is a very special pokey stick. Now I haven't used this pokey stick because he's painted it and it's absolutely gorgeous. And the reason why I say that is because if you remember a while back, in fact a couple of years ago, I painted this one. I painted this one here, the pokey stick. This is the skull version pokey stick, and I painted it exactly the same, and I varnished it and did the whole thing. This is what happens when you paint 200 miniatures a month. This is what happens to the paint. There is no paint, it's gone. That is heavy usage, my friends. That is heavy usage. That is display. That's heavy usage. So this is why when people send me their painted pokey sticks, what I do, I put them in my display cabinet, because I know they'll end up like that no matter how much varnish you put on them. Okay, I'm getting carried away here. Okay, so I've got some black and some white on there. And all I need is a medium dry brush. I got a tissue just in front of me here. I'm going to take some of the black, put it on my tissue, and I'm just going to take a little bit of the white and mix it into the black and make it lighter. And I'm going to take the paint off this here, and we just start building up the wolf. Let's get some closer. We're just going to go over the wolf, and we're just going to let the grey go onto the fur. And this is the first highlight, which is the darkest grey. It also makes it a lot quicker to actually mix the colours yourself. And as you all know, I love using a brown primer because the brown primer does all the work for you and gives you the shadows. You can use black, there's nothing wrong in black, but I find brown isn't so harsh, meaning you can have it can be sometimes too dark using just black. And of course we're painting fur and orc flesh, goblin flesh, so I don't want it black. If I wanted to add a more darker tone to this, we can add a nice black ink wash or brown ink wash over the top anyway. So I'm just going over the whole fur nice and evenly with my first coat. It's a very simple little wolf, like so, nice and even. And now I'm going to add a little bit more white to my little tissue here, just make it a lighter grey. And what we'll do, we'll go on to the hind end and just the tops of the wolf, and it's there, just on the back of the tail, top of the head, shoulders, and just on the side there. Nothing major, but just enough. That's all we need. It's just to bring out the flavours of the fur. Flavours of the fur. There we go. Very, very simple. And what we've got there is a very simple fur coat for our wolf. And we can add a little dot of black on the front there for the nose. We'll do that in a second. Now we don't need to do too much because this middle part here, this is where our goblin is going to be glued onto, so we don't have to worry at all about the middle part. We keep that nice and dark because that will have a shade from where the little legs are hanging down from our goblin. So we just want to highlight the rump, the top of the head and the nose, the rump. There we go. Simple as that. Very simple, quick and easy. Oh, I'm sorry, Pumpkin Wizard, you didn't know what the old pokey stick was for. Yes, the pokey stick is a tool by Reaper Miniatures, and it is absolutely amazing. It's just a piece of it's just a little pointy piece of metal stuck into more metal. But if you use any of these dropper bottles, it's so easy. You just push it into the dropper bottle and it clears all the clogs. Because a lot of dropper bottles as well, they have ball bearings inside the dropper bottle. So when you actually, and the ball bearings quite often get stuck in here as well, which stops the paint coming out. And the ball bearings, of course, are inside the bottle to help it mix the paint inside. So this just helps you poke your balls, poke your bits out. You know what I mean. Moving on. Okay then. Right, okay, so we've done that bit and we've done that bit, so let's get some green skin on our minis. Just a little bit of green there, and we'll use quite a small brush. We'll go for, this is a Reaper Miniatures zero brush, so we can just fly through the skin, and again we'll be using the brown to our advantage. Now I'm just going to the sides of the actual skin. I'm leaving some brown there, so the brown is for the shade. Just all the way around, nice and quick. Over the fingies. And his little toes, he's got bare toes here, so we can just do his little toes. Like I say, it's a super fast speed paint. It's absolutely gorgeous, really nice to work on. Because these are what I'd call low detail miniatures, you really can have a lot of fun with the older miniatures, just get them all painted up quickly. What we'll do is, with the skin tone, we shall go over with a brown ink wash, and then we'll go back over with the green, and then we'll do a lighter tone of green on top of that, just to pick out the nose and the little areas that we've missed. But again, very, very simple, but very effective, and they're starting to look really nice already. I'm quite happy with these. And these will be in my display cabinet, looking very, very cool once they're finished. Okay, last one. Like I say, super, super cool. Now, I never... These miniatures, like I say, these miniatures are from 1976 to 77. I didn't start painting fantasy miniatures until the 80s. My first set of miniatures were from Games Workshop. They released a game called Warlock of Firetop Mountain, and it came with it was a RPG board game. I think it was Steve Jackson. I think it was Steve Jackson. And correct me if I'm wrong in chat if you know, by the way. And the actual game came with six plastic little adventurers, and that was the first game that I started painting fantasy miniatures. In the 70s, of course, I was building airfix kits. I think everybody in the 70s was doing aeroplane model kits and anything to do with World War II. It was all that's all we had in the 70s, really. So that's what we was doing. Loads and loads of model kits with the old airfix paints and the smelly white spirit, and yeah, it was a tough one. But the 80s changed. Thank you for following, Big Dabs. And so we had the airfix paints and the white spirit, and of course the brushes back then as well, with those little hard bristly things, because now and again you'd buy an airfix model kit and it'd come with some paints, and there'd be these tiny little metal tins of airfix paint, and of course you'd be absolutely stinking the house out with these paint pots as well. And of course, if you left the brushes for more than a day, they were absolutely ruined. More than 5 minutes, I should say, a day. I used to have Lancaster bomber airfix kits. I used to have the trains, all sorts of stuff. Bold GM, yes. I wasn't going to say about the sniffing the paint, but it's very, very, very true. If I painted my my airfix model kits in my bedroom, I had a very, very, very tiny little bedroom, and I had the door closed and the window closed. I was like high as a kite after 5-10 minutes. Yes, I have to say the 70s and 80s, though, for me personally, were the best. My childhood memories of the 70s and 80s were absolutely fantastic. It's hard to keep up now with all the mobile phones and computers, social media. I mean, how did we do it back then? I mean, we never had the phones. All we had was a TV with 3 channels. Okay, let's have a look how we're getting on. So we've got some skin on there. We got some silver going there. What's next? Okay, we need to add some lighter browns now. So we have some. This one we have Brinewood and brown. This will be for the wood effect, so we can dry brush some of that onto the wood areas. Does anybody remember Model Mart magazine? Model Mart magazine. Now, Model Mart magazine was back in the 80s, early 90s, and that was like the holy Bible for fantasy collectors. And I used to buy that. I used to buy that every month, and you could buy and sell at the back of this magazine. It was absolutely awesome. Yes, back then, Bull GM, you had BBC One, BBC Two, and ITV, and then I think they released Channel 4, and Channel 4 was absolute caco, absolute rubbish, and that's all I really remember from TV back in the day. Ogre UK, thank you for following, and welcome to the show. Now, if you're new to the show, I only stream once a week. I stream every Thursday, and it's only for 1 hour, and that's more than enough. And that's all you're getting. That's all you're getting. No, I honestly, I don't see I really don't see why people stream every day of the week. It's absolutely mental, crazy. I find Twitch is very, very difficult. I do enjoy coming on and talking to all my friends and the goblins, but everybody is welcome. And of course, every Thursday I do a stream, I give away a free miniature to somebody in chat. So I'm just going over a little dry brush here. This is just picking up the wood effects of this very old minis. And that's all we need to do. Very, very simple, just a light dry brush. So we've got that dark brown behind, and it's just bringing out the details. Now, like I say, these are miniatures cast from the 70s, so you're not expecting tons and tons of detail, but what you've got here is old school goodness. They look like the old goblins, and these are absolutely gorgeous, absolutely beautiful. And Partha, of course, Partha have always been super famous for their miniatures, and these are no exception. They're absolutely gorgeous. Yes, Waffle Witch. Yes, I totally agree. Once a week is perfect. Once a week is perfect. Ogre UK. Well, you've come to the right place. Like I say, my streams aren't for the super advanced, that's for sure. A lot of my followers, a lot of the goblins in chat, they are very high standard painters, but they just join me because they're just nice. I mean, I tried to do an interesting show, and each show I do, I try to show different ways of painting, and I talk about my adventures in life of my painting and things. But honestly, if you want to learn the basics, this is what you're really going to learn on this channel. I really am focusing more on beginners to intermediate painters. There's so many channels now that have got some absolutely amazing professional pro painters, and and it's very easy to get confused. So what I try to do is keep it as simple as possible and show you the basic ways to paint. I do advanced paintings, but that's mainly on my YouTube channel. It's a lot easier to do advanced painting techniques on there. So I just like to do a speed paint and show you the miniatures. Okay, so we need to add a little bit more now. So what I need is a little bit of red, so we're going for my cinnamon red, and we can just add a little tiny bit of colour to certain items of the clothes. Yes, exactly, Mokai. There's also many people who don't paint as well. I won't mention Tao. Oh, yes, and sometimes I start giggling for no apparent reason, and then I go into weird mode. Okay, so I'm just going to use this brush here. It's got a nice tip. This is a #1 brush by MSP, and what we got here is this little cinnamon red. And what we're going to do is I'm going to do the belt in this colour. Now it seems like quite a bright red, but what will happen is, because we're painting it onto the dark brown, it will actually go darker as well, and it'll look like leather. It'll give a nice dark leather effect. So very simply just add that there, around there, and I want to add it to the helmets as well as. We're just aiming for the belts first. Okay, and these little helmets on the sides, I think these should be in red as well, so we'll take that off there. Now we just quickly add a little bit of red to these helmets. Now with old school miniatures, again, the reason why I love the old school miniatures is because we're not using super bright colours. Modern miniature artists, and it seems to be the way with all the miniatures now, is the modern way to paint miniatures is to have super bright colours. Nothing wrong in that if you like the bright colours, but the way I paint is, as you can see, you got a dark, grimy look. Once that red dries, it'll go even darker. I like an earthly feel to my miniatures, and this is why I paint the way I do. It's my own personal taste. What you'll find is a lot of old school players, dungeon masters or gamers, dungeon crawlers, they enjoy the darker old school type minis with an old school type paint. So you got the old goblin colours, some reds and some greens, and of course we can add a little ink wash over to those to make them even darker as well, and to highlight certain areas. Now see the eye there, we've got like an eye of Sauron, as I'm going to call it. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go over this with the red as well, so I'll just quickly go over there. Let's quickly paint that eye. A little bit of red there, and we'll just add this in the middle. And we got a little Eye of Sauron on the shield. Give us some old Lord of the Rings special edition. What I also find as well, I've only used 3 different colours so far. I've used the green, red and silver, and I got the brown for my actual primer, so that's four colours, sorry. That's all the colours I need for these miniatures. I don't need to add any more colour. All I need to do is the same colour and highlight certain areas of the skin. And that's all I need to make these miniatures the way I want them, to make them look. I don't need to go with loads of different colours and variations. I just want these simple and basic and looking very, very old school. So just by adding some reds and some browns here and there, it all comes together and works very, very nicely. Very, very simple, but I think they're looking great so far. I hope your internet's working okay, Stuart. Normally it's normally my end. I've got bad sound. Hello, Gareth. Gareth the Star Wars man's come to say hello. Okay, so these are looking very, very nice now. What I'm going to do, I don't know what time it is. Let me see what time it is. I don't know, have not a clue. Oh, we still got lots of time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding some ink washes over these miniatures. I'm going to add brown ink wash, because I always add a brown ink wash to Goblins because it gives it a nice dirty, nasty feel. And then we should have time to add a little bit of highlight to the skin areas. But what I'm going to also do is, I got this little, this is the sitting down goblin, and I'll need to repaint some areas of him because I've just taken the paint off with the blue tack as normal. But I'm going to stick him onto our little wolf rider. So what I'm going to do that now. I'm going to get some super glue. I use the liquid Loctite super glue. I'm just going to stick some super glue to his bum, and then we'll stick him straight onto our wolf. There we go. We'll just leave him there for a few seconds. Just let him set. And while he's setting, I will show you once again the miniature that you can win on tonight's stream. So tonight I'm giving away the King of the Dead, I should say, on his throne, Skeleton Lord. If you want to win this miniature, just type in chat to give me the Skeleton King. I think that's what I said earlier. I cannot remember already. Or just type in give me a free mini. It makes it a lot easier, doesn't it? My Scorpio will add you to the Wheel of Pain, and then at the end of the show, in about 10 minutes time, she will announce the winner. But this is tonight's free miniature. Now, if you've just joined the show and you've started following, I do give away a miniature every Thursday on my stream. It's normally a Bones miniature from Reaper Miniatures. Reaper Miniatures is my favourite company. I'm also sponsored by Reaper Miniatures. So yes, absolutely awesome stuff. So this is my free miniature for tonight. No. Are you going to stick? Are you going to? Oh, it doesn't help. Oh, it doesn't help when he doesn't touch the actual wolf. Hang on 1 second. I need to move him back a bit. There we go. Give me 5 seconds for this to stick. You know what super glue's like. Sometimes super glue sticks. Thank you for the cheers. Sometimes super glue doesn't stick, or it'll stick your fingers together instantly, but it won't actually stick anything to your miniatures. So 1 second. There's a little bit of in there. Just bear with me. I just want to stick this on there. Oh, I think he's sticking there. There you go. I'll leave him be for a few minutes to make sure he's more stuck down. But what we're going to do is we're going to add some brown ink wash to these miniatures, then remove the brown ink wash. This will go into all the recesses and give us a nice shade as well. But they're already looking absolutely fab. I'm really happy with these miniatures. They're very, very nice miniatures. Okay, so now for my ink wash, I am using the Agrax Earthshade. Luckily enough, I still got quite a few pots of the old Agrax Earthshade. If you are a Games Workshop collector of paints, as you know, they're charging the same price, but they have shrunk the size of the bottles, which is nasty, but there we are. That's what happens. It's called seconds glue. Hello, Renegade Shank. Awesome to see you. Oh, honestly, I was sticking together. all the orcs for the gargantuan squig off I was doing on the last show, and I think I stuck more of my fingers together than I did at the actual orcs. It's crazy stuff, absolutely crazy stuff. Okay, when you're adding ink wash, use an old brush that you don't really care about, and if you're doing fine ink wash areas, then yes, you can use a more detailed brush, but for these miniatures I'm just putting brown all over the miniature, so I'm not worried about harming any brushes. So all we do is just add the ink wash. This will go all over. I mean, it's such a simple paint, and of course what I try to do on my shows is give you inspiration to paint your miniatures and show you that you don't have to be a super professional painter to get a nice little mini for your tabletop. It's all about the gaming thing. It's all about having all your miniatures painted on a tabletop. Now that's that there. Now I'm using these little cotton buds like this. So all I'm going to do is go over the face and the highest parts of the muscle and just take away that ink wash a little bit. This gives a little shade, of course, and a little highlight, and just makes the green pop a little bit more. And of course, if you've got any excess ink wash, you know, you might have added a little bit too much ink wash, you can take it away. But as you can see, if you look at that shield there, the shield, all the ink wash has gone into all the little recesses of the shield, and it's made all the wood grain pop. It's absolutely gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And of course, minimal effort. All I've done is I've painted that brown and I've added an ink wash. Simple as that. I mean, the final stages, you can highlight your miniature as much as you want, but if you're after a very fast and acceptable tabletop quality for your gaming table, then this is the way to go. Just very simple. Ink wash is an absolute legendary item. Now, of course, when you're doing orcs, the more grimy and the more dirty your orcs and goblins look, the better they are. So, of course, this Agrax Earthshade is a very heavy. It's a very heavy pigmented brown. So it's perfect for making all the metal look kind of worn and rusty, and it just gives a nice dirty effect, and this is what we're after for our goblins. And of course, once this is dry, we shall highlight the goblin skin with just a tiny little highlight, and that's all we'll need to do to make these goblins look extra special. Moist. I did post. I don't know if anybody saw my post earlier today. I have all the Christmas cards. All the Christmas cards have been posted. So everybody in chat who is part of the Goblin Empire, you've all had cards sent to you. Now, again, I am not sending out any parcels. I'm not sending out any parcels until February. That's when I'm going to be starting full time again as a business. Now, there is a couple of you in chat that I've had private chats with, and you know exactly what's happening with your parcels. If any of you have any questions, please feel free to direct message me and ask me about any work that you're waiting on or anything like that. Because I'll get back to you and answer all your questions. But I'm looking at a February 2023 restart of everything. I mean, I am absolutely over the moon. I was expecting to be out of action for like nearly 2 years. So yeah, I know I keep on going on about it, but it's a huge thing for me that I'm able to carry on in my job. But I'm still gonna make sure I do it a little steps. Hello, Michelle, and thank you. Yes. I mean, you all know how upset I was getting. I mean, it was breaking my heart, you know. I mean, this is the only thing in my life that I love doing, that I really love doing. So yeah, it was hard news for me to take. I mean, I'm not 100%, but getting there. It's all in the top section of the arm now. But I do have to take it easy. That is for sure. Okay. So again, we're just removing the excess, and then just in certain parts of the miniature. Can you all see the miniatures? Okay, by the way, is it close enough for you? Can you all see the details? I mean, these are old miniatures. Well, all the Christmas cards have been posted, so you got a good 4 weeks. You got 3.5 weeks before Christmas, so hopefully they should get there. Okay, so what I'm going to do for the final touch tonight is I'm going to add a little bit of white. I'm going to add a little bit of white to that green we used earlier. Only a real tiny bit of white. And I don't know if we're dry enough yet. We should be okay. We're just going to do a tiny little highlight on the skin. So all we're doing here is we've got our green. We're going to put our green there. And we're talking the slightest of little tiny bit of white, because we've already added a dark ink wash over the skin area, so we only need a very slight highlight on that skin. If I make it too light, what will happen is it will just look like blobbed on bits of green. So what we need to do is it's just a tiny little highlight, and what will happen is it will look bright, but it will blend in afterwards. So all we're doing is going to the top of the forehead. Oh, it would help if I was in camera, excuse me. We're going to do his little nose. He's got a little button nose. To be honest, this goblin is a very cute goblin for a goblin. He's got a little button nose and everything. So we're just going over the top of the forehead there, the top of the cheeks, a little bit on there, just there, and just the top of the jaw, and just those little highlights brings the face to life. And the same with the arm. We're just going on the bicep here, just a tiny bit on the bicep, and here, and I can't remember the wrist. That's what I'm trying to look for. And on the fingers, what we do is on each individual finger, we just quickly add on the knuckles, a little highlight to the knuckles. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a little hit on the thumb there. And all of a sudden, our goblin is like, ah! And of course he's got little toes, so we're just going to add a little bit to the toes there. Boom, 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 boom. Beaky, 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 beaky. There you go. Moving on to the next one. Now this one, he's got a nose guard, so we're just going to add it to the cheeks. A little bit to each cheek here, and a little bit to the chin, and a little bit to the wrist, and again to the fingers. So very, very quickly, just going over just part of the fingers. We're not going over the whole finger, just on the knuckles, at knuckle areas, where the tightness of the hand would look brighter and show up more. Okay, moving on to the next one. Again, this one has, I think, he's got a little nose here, so we're going to paint his little nose and little cheeks. And again, when we're painting the arm, for the highlight on the arm, we're going to the top of the arm, so all the way along the top of the arm, because that's where the light source is. Now I will repeat myself a million times on every show. When I paint my miniatures, the light source I got above my light for my table lamp, that's shining down on my miniature. So what's happening is all the areas that I want to have a light source, I just copy the light that's shining down from my tabletop. It's a very simple way of doing things, and it's a natural light where the top of your arm is going to hit, but the top of your, if the sun is above you, the top of your arm the sun will hit, and the bottom will be dark. So it makes sense that when you add a lighter shade or tone, whatever you want to call it, you add it to the top of the arm, and the bottom of the arm is then dark. And the same, that's why we do the top of the nose, we do the cheeks here, because that's where the light source is shining down on the actual miniature or your face. And like on this here, we got the feet of the goblin here. We can just add a tiny little bit of paint there, just on the toes. That's where the light source would be hitting. Now it's still a bit wet there, so we'll leave that one there. We'll just do the arm, a little bit on the arm here. And a tiny bit on the cheek there. No, it's still a bit wet, so we better leave that. But that's about it, really. I think that's all we need to do for these goblins. I think that's a fantastic little paint. Now what I'll do is I shall probably paint the bases just basic goblin green, because I want to actually keep the bases as they are. Because I want to be able to lift up the base and see that nice 1976 on the bottom of the base. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I am going to ask Scorpler to do the draw and tell you who has won. There's a beautiful, beautiful skeleton lord on throne, and I've got cold coffee because I forgot about it. Now I want to again thank all the people who followed tonight. It's very nice. I think 2 or 3 people followed. Very, very happy about that. Hello Brian. So yes, this is the, if you haven't put your name in, put in give me a free mini, and Claire's been adding everybody to the Wheel of Pain. Oh, and Mokai's won. Well done, Mokai. Well done, Mokai. Like I say, you shall get this miniature sent to you. It's an awesome little mini. Like I say, it's one of my favourites from Reaper, from their Bones line of miniatures. It's always been a super cool miniature. So there we are. Before I go, let's show you once again these absolutely awesome miniatures. Let's see if we can get a little bit of a better focusy zoom of it closer. There we go. Like I say, very simple paint, but very effective. And these are just absolutely awesome old school miniatures. So I will say a good night to every single one of you. I'll see you on Discord, I'll see you on Twitter, and of course I shall see you next Thursday on stream. So until then, have an absolutely wonderful weekend, and lots of love to every single one of you, and thank you for supporting me for another month. So take care everyone, and good night.